How do you adopt something new within your company? How do you make it stick within your company so people don't toss it out? Like, that's a hard question to answer, and that's a question you need to ask yourself when you're talking about AI. New things, companies have been adopting new things for decades. ERPs, client server, smartphones. Right? There were points where, during all of those, where companies just wanted to toss them out of the company, that they didn't want anything to do with it because it just made things more difficult, more painful. And the same thing can happen for AI if the adoption is not successful and it's not supported. So how do you adopt something new? Something complex and has the nuances like AI? Well, there's a program you can follow, a series of approaches of the way you're asking questions, what you're focusing on, to make sure that AI is successfully adopted. Now, the thing is, you just can't throw AI within the company and expect people to work. You can't mandate people to use AI. It doesn't work that way. People may use AI, but may use it incorrectly. They might fudge the results and say they are using AI when really they're not. You can't really mandate people. There are things you need to consider when adopting something new. The first thing to consider is the motivations that people have regarding the new thing, regarding AI. If people are resistant against AI, then you're going to have a hard job having people use AI within the company. Motivations have to be, does AI motivate people to use it? Are people internally motivated to use AI? This means you need to get in line what your philosophy is as of a company, what the common ground everyone have in the company, that we're a team and that these are our core principles. You need to know all that stuff for a successful AI adoption, because that's really what's coming into play when you're wanting to adopt something new. Then you have to consider when that new thing, is it helping or hindering people when they're going through their work environment with that new thing? Is it causing more trouble? Is it causing less pain? Is it making life easier, faster? That's what matters when adopting something new. I've seen ERP systems shut off because they made things too complicated, too painful. Now, the next part is when people navigate through the environment, is there a mechanism? Is there a way for them to understand how they can make the tool better, or how well the AI is working for them? Are they able to understand it? Are they able to learn from it? Are they able to articulate it? Because they need that, because then they can make recommendations to the powers that be on how to change the processes, the procedures, the technologies to make life easier for everyone. And that's pretty key, the learning activities involved. You don't have that, the new thing, the AI, is not going to stick. People are just going to stop using it after a point. You'll find that you'll need to change your processes, your procedures, your existing technologies. Well, that's pretty straightforward. That's pretty predictable. You pick your battle, you pick your scope. But the rest of that cycle, in terms of the motivations, the navigation through the environment, then the learning, that is much harder to understand and get through and hash through. Now, the key to doing something new is that reputation is a major player. People do not want to look bad when doing something new or adopting something new. They don't want to look foolish. Some places, you could lose your job for doing something new when it fails. In some places, you can lose your job when you do something new and it works. I've seen that. But when doing something new, you got to consider the reputation. And when you focus on that cycle, especially around the motivations, reputation, people will be willing to risk their reputation because of those motivations. If they align with those motivations, they have those motivations, then they will risk doing something new. Now, here's the thing about doing something new. Every article you read, every expert you listened to, every book on this new thing, especially about AI, that's the ideal. That's the ideal. You're not the ideal. You're going to have to change how you're understanding and what you're reading based on how your company works, how your people work. Because there is a delta between what people are talking about and what people are presenting and the solutions they provide based on how things actually work in practice, in reality, how they work practically. So be prepared to see that delta and try to bridge it and transition it so that AI works for you. Now, here's another secret to AI being successfully adopted. Well, really anything successfully adopted. You deal with damage control. Like you deal with risk management, you deal with change management, you make sure those are nailed down. But the other thing you need to consider is that the people factor. When you're adopting something new, you need a poster person, a poster boy, a poster girl, someone that's a symbol of that new thing. Because that gives people a relationship with that new thing. They see that person as that new thing. They don't want that person to fail because that person is very engaging, they're friendly, they're helpful, they give the impression they can walk on water and do almost anything. It's very easy to back a person like that and help them so that they don't fail. Because people have no problem having ideas and approaches fail. But once you get a person involved and they're sort of the avatar for that new thing, they'll do everything they can to make sure that it doesn't fail. And because you have a person, a face, that helps build in this relationship and internal motivation to be using the new things and to make sure that the new things work. It's very important that you have this thing, this internal motivation set up. You should watch it like a hawk because it is the leading indicator when things are going to be tossed out of your company or stop being used in your company. The takeaway for this is that don't be distracted by all the latest brands of practices and approaches about manipulating culture and adopting new technologies and all those maturity models. Just focus on the tried and true practices that have been around for all this time, that cycle, and focus on that the new things, especially AI, is the ideal. They're talking always about the ideal. You're going to have to focus on your reality and connect the two. And make sure that you have a face doing some damage control, making sure that people have a relationship with the new thing so that they'll be much more eager to support it and make sure it's successful. And that's how you adopt something new.